finally got round to showing you our new Axminster Trade Series planer thicknesser. This one here is the latest model from Axminster with a TCT spiral cutter head. That was the main feature for us and the reason why we've upgraded, as the spiral cutter head allows for much smoother planing, a much cleaner finish, less sanding. So yeah, we're really pleased with it so far. We've had it for 2 months now. If you follow us on Instagram, you might have seen us when we got it at the end of last year. So yeah, we're going to show you how it all works and what we think of it. So the TCT spiral cutter block, it allows for a much smoother planing. It's very efficient for the dust extraction, and the main thing, when you're changing the blades, if you get a chip, you don't have to change the whole blade, you just change the one that's been affected by the chip. So here you can see the spiral cutter head. This here has got 56 knives, and they've all got 4 sharp sides, so you can use the supplied Torx key, and then they're actually numbered on each corner so you can see where you're at. So if you get a chip in a blade, you can just turn that blade 90 degrees, any with the chip in, and then just replace them as necessary. And when you want to do the whole lot, just give them all a turn. So it's very simple to do. There's no fine setting because they're automatically going to be set when you rotate them. And once you've used the 4 sides, you'd be then buying yourself a new set. They're not resharpenable. Here we've got the cutter guard, so when you're surface planing, you can set this to where you need. So if you're planing a wide plank, you can actually pass your timber underneath, adjusting the height with this wheel at the back here. Very quick and simple to do. And then if you're planing an edge, you can set it, drop this right down to the table so that there's no exposed cutting knives when you're planing, to keep it nice and safe, so prevent any accidents. And then back here we've got the tilting aluminium fence. This tilts up to 45 degrees, and then there's simple adjustment on the back here to bring the fence in across the table and lock it off. Simple adjustment for the tilting, just undo the wheel, tilt to 45 and lock him off again. So for running the machine, we've got the on and off switches here with a larger safety off. So if you knock that, it's going to stay locked in, so you can't physically turn the machine on, not going to accidentally turn it on. And then twist to release, and that then enables you to turn the machine on. And when you're surface planing and you're stood around the front of the machine, there's another one around the front here. Again, twist to release. We're incredibly impressed with how quiet this machine is. Just to turn it on now to show you, I can still talk, you can probably still hear me absolutely fine. When I turn the extractor on, the extractor's noisier than the planer thicknesser itself, so really impressive and quiet. So if we come around the front of the machine here now, the in-feed planing side when surface planing, and underneath here you'll see on the left we've got the locking lever, so I can release him. And then on the right hand side here, this one adjusts our depth of cut. So there's a dial on the side over here. And this is our gauge, so I'm currently set to about 1mm, and if I turn this screw on the right over here, that can then drop this down all the way to 4mm. And as you can see, as I'm adjusting here, you'll see the table dropping and exposing the cutter more and more. And so once you've got your chosen setting, so if I've set that at 1.5 mm or 2mm, then I'm going to use the locking lever here, push that in and lock him off as so. And then that's the in-feed table set. We've set our cutting depth, ready for planing. So if you want to come around the outfeed side of the table now. When in surface planing mode, we've got a 100mm dust extraction outlet here underneath, so just hook the hose on there. And then the same for adjustment of the outfeed table to make sure that everything's set nice. We've got the locking lever here, And then the adjustment wheel, the same here. So you can adjust the height of the outfeed table to make sure when you're surface planing that after your timber comes through the cutter head that it's going to be sitting perfectly flat on the outfeed table and it's not going to drop and give you any snipe on the end of your piece. From surface planing mode into thicknessing mode. It's quite simple and quick to do. I'm going to slide the lid guard out of the way there, unlock the fence. That then enables me to lift the fence out entirely. And on the back of the machine we've got some storage hooks that allows you to just drop your fence down, sit in place there so he's safe and out of the way when you're going to be thicknessing. So he's locked off, and then if I start with the planing outfeed table, undo the locking lever on the right hand side. That then enables me to just swing the table up. There's a little safety catch here. And when I'm going to switch that back to thicknessing, I just move him out of the way, and that will then enable me to drop him back down again. And then for the infeed table, same again, locking lever here, release that, bring him out, and then you can swing straight up to put the machine into thicknessing mode. And then last of all, we've got the dust extraction, flips back over and hooks into place here, and then we can put our dust extraction hose on. Like so. So now when thicknessing, this is the infeed side. So the outfeed side from planing is the infeed side from thicknessing. And now we've got this lever here engages the rollers which are going to pull your timber in when thicknessing. So I'm going to lift that up and let that drop into there, and then to put him into planing mode again I will pull that out and it will hook in place, and that just turns the rollers off for when you're doing your surface planing. This is our height locking lever, so if we release him off, then we've got the height adjustment wheel with a scale on the side here showing inches and metric, and then on this machine we've also got the little digital dial here which will show us in millimeters to the point of the millimeter of where we're at. So if I quickly wind him up, so now I'm about 25 millimeters, I'll lock that off there, and now we're ready for thicknessing. So we've just finished thicknessing our 3 planks, and as you can see here, this is the finish that we get. This oak's got quite a few knots, it's a feature grade oak, so there's lots of character, but that can be quite tricky for planing, whereas the spiral cutter head, it really does leave a very good finish on here. There's a few little tiny sort of dig-ins in there, but that's from where it's thickness before I've purchased the wood, and this machine would actually totally take that out, but on this I'm not going any thinner with the thicknessing. So, and for a comparison, this is a piece that was thicknessed with our older straight knife machine, and when the machine, if you were taking a slightly too deep a cut, or if the blades aren't, you know, when they're starting to lose their sharpness, if the machine sort of jams at all, this is what you get, and it can be quite a pain to sand this out, whereas we don't get that at all with the new machine with the spiral cutter head. So that's a bit of a comparison for you there, and just generally it's a much smoother cut, so less sanding for us to do. Worktop all thicknessed up, planed up, jointed the edges, and that's now ready for gluing up. Put a few dominoes in, glue it up, and then ready for sanding and cutting for size. So if you're in the market for a planer thicknesser and you've either looking for an upgrade or you've not yet purchased a planer thicknesser, whether you've got a large workshop or a small workshop, this machine is absolutely brilliant. We keep ours on the mobile base, so I can just unlock these here and push them back and wheel them away to give us full use of the panel saw here. I highly recommend this machine. If you're debating about going with the straight knives or the spiral cutter head, I definitely recommend go for the spiral cutter head. It's just so much smoother. The machine doesn't struggle at all when cutting. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. We're really pleased. Well done, Axminster.